This is a story of one of the most famous chess games ever played, the Immortal Game, featuring Adolf Anderssen versus Lionel Kieseritzky. It was a friendly game played in London in 1851, and it became a timeless classic. The game starts with both players following a popular opening choice of the time. Anderssen, playing as white, begins with e4, advancing the pawn to the center, while Kieseritzky, playing as black, mirrors this with e5. Then, Anderssen quickly shows his aggressive intentions by launching the king's gambit, offering up his f-pawn to lure black out of position. Kieseritzky accepts the gambit, capturing the pawn on f4. In return, Anderssen develops his bishop to c4, aiming to control important squares and set up future attacks. Black responds by giving a check with the queen on h4, forcing Anderssen to move his king early to f1, a position that may seem exposed but is relatively safe. Then Kieseritzky tries to attack aggressively by pushing a pawn to b5, but Anderssen calmly captures it with his bishop on b5. In response, Kieseritzky develops his knight to f6, putting pressure on white's center. As the game proceeds, Anderssen pushes his knight to f3, attacking black's queen, and forcing it to retreat to h6. Anderssen secures his pawns with a solid d3, maintaining control while black advances further with nh5, trying to set up threats. Here, Anderssen finds an exciting tactical opportunity by advancing his pawn to g4, pushing back the knight to f6 and threatening to trap black's queen. Black, perhaps feeling pressured, mistakenly captures the pawn on b5 with the idea of opening lines, but this leaves his position vulnerable. Anderssen seizes the moment, advancing h4, and the queen has nowhere good to go. After trying to escape with qg6, Anderssen keeps up the pressure with h5, chasing the queen all over the board. Black's position becomes difficult as Anderssen continues with qf3, targeting the weak f4 pawn and getting ready to trap the queen. Eventually, Anderssen wins back the f4 pawn with his bishop, and Kieseritzky's pieces struggle to find any good squares. Anderssen continues developing, bringing his knight to nc3, and black tries to counterattack by bringing his bishop to c5, aiming for white's rook. But Anderssen is already several steps ahead. He sacrifices material by allowing Kieseritzky to take the pawn on b2. At this point, Anderssen unleashes a brilliant combination by placing his bishop on d6, offering up both his rooks for an overwhelming attack. Black falls for the bait, capturing one of the rooks, and Anderssen pushes forward with e5, cutting off black's queen from defending its kingside. Now black is in serious trouble, and after capturing the second rook with qa1, Anderssen plays q2, calmly tucking his king away. Kieseritzky desperately tries to develop his knight to na6, but Anderssen finds the crushing blow, nxg7+. Black's king is forced to kd8, and Anderssen follows up with qf6+, sacrificing his queen to deliver the final checkmate with just his minor pieces. And so, after just 23 moves, Adolf Anderssen wins the game, leaving his opponent in awe of the beauty and creativity behind each move. This game has become immortal, not because of its material balance but because of Anderssen's fearless style and tactical brilliance, earning its place in chess history.